everybody, welcome to part 2 of our How to Draw notes. In this particular section, we're covering over step 2, how to draw. Like, what is the physical process of drawing a thing? We've already gone over planning a drawing, so finding theme statement, organizing your picture so you know what goes where using the compositional rules. Right now, we're looking specifically how to do the process of drawing a thing from nothing. So there are 3 steps to drawing. There is gesture drawing, refinement, and modeling in that order. Again, first step, gesture drawing, second step, refinement, and third step, modeling. Now, gesture drawing is what we're going to cover first. Gesture drawing is the absolute roughest sketch you can come up with. It is what most would consider a doodle, perhaps. A gesture drawing is quick and rough, mostly meant to capture movements over details. We're looking for something that shows an action or in some way like makes this drawing flow together. Again, it is quick and it is rough. There are no details. A line of action can be shown very easily in most sketches. And you want to have a strong line of action. A line of action is the longest line of continuous movement through a shape or figure. A strong line of action adds dynamism and movement to an artwork. Dynamism just being, dynamic action kind of poses. It makes things look like they could actually move or like they could actually flow together. A lot of people will have a line of action in wind, for example, that shows that the wind is blowing. Some people will have a line of action in a person to show that they're like kicking out, like kung fu style, so on and so forth. But you want a strong line of action. Now, when it comes down to the next step, refinement, here's how you're going to get started on that. Your first step to drawing any drawing is to gesture in your placements. It allows you to visualize the size of objects on the page to one another and to other parts of themselves. You can really get zeroed in on drawing all the details really quickly and then move on to another part of the drawing, draw in all of those details, and only realize later after you've finished all of your details that the left eye is too little. And now you have to go back and erase all your beautiful drawing in order to redo it. So you gesture everything in first. It is very annoying when you're a beginner to learn how to do this gesture portion or to go through this gesture portion, but it is very important to making sure that everything fits together later. Once you have that gesture in, then you break the objects or figure into its most basic component shapes. All objects can be started with one or more basic shapes, and beginning your drawing with those shapes adds mass, and it gives you a starting point for shading your drawing later. Step 3 of drawing is modeling, which has to do with that. So this gives you a base for how you're going to shade and what needs shading later on. So down here at the bottom, you can see a very rough gesture sketch of a hand. It starts with an almost pentagon oval shape with some lines sticking out to be your fingers. The third picture along is breaking down the pieces. All of the fingers are now made into 3 separate joint areas that are rough rectangles, not perfectly so. Some of them are a little bit more pointy. And then on top of that, our last drawing is where the refinement has taken place. When you are breaking down into your basic shapes, you have lots of shapes to choose from. Your basic shapes, circles, ovals, rectangles, squares, etc., all of those work sometimes, but sometimes a regular shape doesn't quite fit what you need. Consider using irregular shapes, things that are more blobby or odd, or even geometric forms like cylinders and cubes. Sometimes those are going to be the thing that gets you the best gesture for what you're trying to work with. For example, if I was gesturing a soda can, I'd start with a cylinder. If I was gesturing in a dice, I would like a die, like a that you use in card games and stuff. I might gesture in a cube. If I need to gesture in a cloud, I'm probably going to do some kind of blobby shape from the irregular shape section. Refinement is the step where you observe carefully, add detail to your work, fixing all those lines that are incorrect and adding more information such as wrinkles, folds, fingernails, hair. Eyelashes, all of that is in the refinement step. It happens right on top of your gesture drawing and your broken down pieces drawing. All of that happens directly on top. And then you just erase your gesture drawings after you're done. Modeling and shading. This will go into much more detail in a further video. For now, what you need to know is that that last step of drawing is adding volume through modeling. Modeling is just a fancy word for shading. Shading is adding in lights and darks to your drawing in order to make it look 3D. And modeling, again, is just the fancy word for shading. Remember that these steps are gesture draw first, lightly kind of put in the basic lines and shapes of everything. Very, very simplified, just to put everything in the right place. Break down those pieces into their most basic component parts, and then from there, refine those component parts into your final drawing. Modeling and shading is going to come last. We will have a further video on that later on. Thanks, everybody.